Hi, I'm Constance Santego. What your mom never taught you about aromatherapy. Let's start with, what is aromatherapy? Aromatherapy is, really, they're essential oils. Aroma, you can smell essential oils. Therapy, essential oils have physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual benefits. Smell. You have two olfactory nerves, one in each side of the nose, that is attached to the brain. And as the scent of aroma comes in through the nose, they touch these olfactory nerves. So the chemical touches the nose and touches these nerves and sends a message to the brain. And the brain actually then triggers, has a chemical reaction to the aromatherapy. The brain will do whatever it needs to do with that chemical. How is an essential oil made? Most are actually steam distilled, manufactured from plants, roots, stems, leaves, flowers, and fruit. Now the interesting fact there is each part of the plant actually does something different. So there's different chemicals in each part. So you could have, let's say, lavender, but if you use the root or the stem, the leaves, the flowers, of course it doesn't have fruit, but being that said, each part actually does a different to the body. So each part will react with your body differently. Distillation. I went on a trip with my family back in 2003 to France, and we got to go through places and they showed us all kinds of fascinating things. Distillation, what they do here is the plant matter goes into here and they boil it. So this here, the water boils and the steam comes up and cools as it kind of goes through a coil kind of thing that goes like this. And then it comes into another container. Now, oil floats on water. So the essential oils actually float on top. And then what they do is they separate the water. And now this is actually hydrosol water that is now in this second container here. Molinard. We went through a perfume factory and this is one of their labs. What I found fascinating was, due to sensitivity, the nose of a chemist, they can only work for about 2 hours a day. That's all their brain can handle of smell. And they told us that smelling coffee helps to balance the sense of smell. So if you were in a perfume shop or if you were smelling a whole bunch of different aromatherapy, you would actually be able to sniff the aromatherapy and then you would actually smell the coffee so that you could smell another or second or third different smell, and the coffee balances the sense of smell. Another fact that they had said that many years, each year, only one new and unique perfume is created. So that chemist is working hard on designing a brand new unique perfume. And there might only be one that he creates in that whole year. What I found interesting is, of course, perfume is made from essential oils, but one perfume could have a blend of over 2,000 essential oils in it. Now, true essential oils should be kept in a dark container. Essential oils are very sensitive to light, oxygen, and heat. Also, perfume. I wish I had a picture of the container of the perfume that I had bought when I was in France. It was actually a solid container that you could not see through it. It was a very solid container. It's funny because, of course, to them, they're saying that nothing should be ever in a clear container. And if you take the Western belief of perfume, it's the bottle that's the pretty part. And of course, most of them are clear, which means that the perfume, even though you spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars possibly on it, could be wrecked in no time because you have it sitting on your shelf in the open where the light and everything can hit it. So, solid container is better. Best essential oils come from all over the world. Each year, depending on the crop, so meaning rain, sun, wind, the bugs, all that stuff, will determine if that year's crop was excellent, good, or just okay. Kind of like wine. The best is wherever the best crop is. And that could be anywhere in the world that year. Essential oils have the most amazing megahertz frequency. Not just hertz, but megahertz. Meaning they can shift the body amazingly. Here's some really cool, interesting facts. As far back as 18,000 BC, carbon dating of cave samples has suggested that plants were used for healing. 4,500 BC, Egyptians used balms, perfumed oils, scented bark, resin, spice, aromatic vinegars. And as many of you might know, Egyptian society was based on religion. Well, each pharaoh was considered a god, and so each of them had their own special fragrance. And the statue, so the scented oil was in front of the statue, and so people could go there and praise and pray to them. So if you imagine it, the person would go in and pray to this pharaoh, and as they're praying, the essential oils were actually what was healing them. Of course, with Egyptians, they are famous for mummies. Now, the fact there that's amazing is that when the pharaoh died, what they did is they embalmed the body with essential oils. And essential oils actually preserved the body so that it never decomposed. Over 4,000 years ago, ancient Sumerians made use also of scented herbs. And everybody usually knows the story of Jesus. Of course, frankincense and myrrh were given as gifts, and they were held the value equal to gold. Fact, frankincense is helpful as a tonic to the uterus, and myrrh is used as an antiseptic for healing of wounds. What better things to give a new mom and a newborn baby? Also, you have mention of hyssop. The sponge was passed to Jesus on the cross at his death. In 50 AD, a Greek physician, many of you know this name, and he was the one who was the author of Demetria Medica, of course, detailed accounts of healing properties of many herbs. Another Greek surgeon, Galen, as most of us would know him as, and he was the one who helped the gladiators. And so he was in charge to make sure that the gladiators were healed because, of course, they didn't want to keep paying for slaves to be gladiators. So he had to heal them. And in all his experience, he ended up actually being the inventor of the cold cream. You all know this oath. This is the oath that physicians swear by, and they swear to a number of healing gods to uphold the specific ethical standards. He's also considered the father of medicine in Western culture, Hippocrates. Now, between 300 AD and the 1300s, there are many, many cultures around the world that have been known for their use of plants for healing. Asia, East India, there's so many. In the 1300s, during the Black Death, the plague, frankincense and pine was burned in the streets. Indoors, incense and perfumed gums and resins were worn around the neck. Now, this one I find really quite fun. In the 1800s, okay, so that isn't that long ago, medical practitioners, they had their staff, their walking stick, and it came about shoulder height, and at the top, it was filled with aromatics. When they went into and visited a home that had somebody with some kind of contagious disease, they could hold it near their nose so they wouldn't get sick. In the late 1800s, the pill was born. Now, this actually is fascinating because what happens is a pill is actually taken from a real something. And let's pretend we're going to use the example of willow bark, which most of you know it as an aspirin. But willow bark has a very specific chemical in it. And now, as I had talked about earlier, that each year the crop is different, you never know what batch you're going to get. So what happened is they know that willow bark could actually help with pain. And so when chemists then figured out what part of the willow bark that actually was responsible for this, what they did is they took that specific part out, that chemical out, and they created aspirin. Now the only difference is willow bark also has other properties in it. So it might not then, let's say, hurt the stomach or hurt the body, because the willow bark has all of the properties, but the pill only has some of the properties. So some people might be affected differently. Pill was so that they could always have the same production. They knew exactly the quality and the effect that it was going to give, because every pill was identical. No two plants are identical. Now, this is where aromatherapy was born in the 1920s. So a French chemist was working in his family's perfumery. And what happened was a fire had set, and he seriously burned his hand and his arm. Now, in his reaction, what he did is he went and immersed it into the first liquid he could see. And it was a batch of lavender, essential oil of lavender. Now, to his amazement, what happened was his burn was bad, but he did not have the effects of what a normal burn was. So his arm healed so quickly and hardly any issues. And that is where he started studying then the effects of essential oils. And that is how aromatherapy became. Now there's many uses for essential oils. Of course, most of us know the essential oils that are for the mind. Perfume, scent, anything that is a light top note. So if it's fruit, flowers, if it's a scent that comes from that, they all help the mind. Essential oils for the body. Now, essential oils are excellent for antiseptic, antibacterial, antiviral, and antifungal. Many of them have these chemical constituents. They have many other properties also. Also excellent for relaxation, rejuvenation, and stress relief. Now, when it comes to the body, what you're looking for here is more of the deeper stuff like roots and stems and leaves. Essential oils are also wonderful for the soul, pure spiritual bliss. Now here, the essential oils are more in the flowers and the fruit. What you can make at home. Hey, you could have so much fun. I have recipes and I have videos on my YouTube channel. So if you go to Constance Santego, the YouTube channel, look up the aromatherapy, because I have how to make these things. Bath bombs, soap, candles, massage creams and oils, lip balms. But remember, always check the contraindications. There are essential oils that people should not use also. You might be one of these. If you're pregnant, high or low blood pressure, sensitivity, allergies. Essential oils are plants, and they can also be toxic. So some people cannot use them. Make sure you know what you're using before you do. Also, essential oils are for minor issues. You still need your doctor. Go ahead and show your mom what you just learned. With knowledge, shift happens. Create magic.